Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on the call today. This is our reading for Friday, November 15th, 2019. These readings are absolutely timeless and they are theme-based, so please definitely, you can look through the archives if you feel guided to do so, and you can pick up on any day and whatever, because it's message-based, all right? So for today, I definitely feel the presence of another guide or another essence. That's what they're saying here. And so welcome, yay. All right, so anyway, let's get started. So guys, first of all, what I'm seeing in the cards is that it's almost like Spirit was saying, our guide is saying, that a lot of us, we've been going through a lot, right? If you notice, this person is here on the Dark Angel card, and look at how he's looking. He's just been going through a lot. He's stressed out. He's, it even looks a little bit ecstatic. But notice how it seems to be the same person or similar, at least based on the hair. But to my eyes, my spiritual eyes, what I'm seeing is that this person who represents you, Spirit is saying you've been going through a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot. These lifetimes have all been an attempt to undo error, is what the words that they're using. Now, I want you guys to know that when I use certain words, especially when they're channeled from these guides, and the messages seem to be from a higher dimension, they may use terms that beg defining. At least, like, for example, undoing error. That seems, the way that they say it seems more in line with the term that they use in, or the way those two words are used in A Course in Miracles than the way that we would use it in a religious sense, or even the way that we would think about it. Undo error, wait, what? Have I done something bad? What did I do wrong? Right? So I would invite you that in that case, if you ever like stop and you're like, what do they mean undo error? Does that mean I've done something wrong, or there's something wrong here? Actually, in that moment, remember that is an inquiry that has come up in your mind, because it's coming into contact with something within you. And so instead of assuming that you know what it means, definitely ask and pray about it, and please try to understand what that means, so to speak. Because even me, I'm just a channel, so I actually go back and watch the videos so that I can actually see what was said and whatnot, and take my own notes. But long story short, Spirit is showing this is a process. They're saying this is a process of unwinding what you have put into action many, many eons ago. All right? So there goes that idea again, that we've been given this playground in which to create and absolutely create stories and pictures and all sorts of things across the fabric of the universe, right? In yesterday's daily reading, which was only a few hours ago because it was so late, sorry. Anyway, in yesterday's reading, God's consciousness, like a much higher being, definitely, and guides, of course, came through, and we got this idea of God being able to just sit back and allow us to be and to create dreams and live out our dreams and our fantasies, even when those things become nightmares to us. And he's always present, and he drops in and all of this, but he doesn't seek to change our course, or, just like a loving mother on a playground would not seek to over instruct a child who's playing with something out of normal, quote unquote, context. And I think the example I gave you guys yesterday was like using a little, those little beach shovels, using a shovel to hammer something in. Hey, no, that's supposed to be to scoop the dirt in, but no, a kid is using it as a hammer. Like things like that, a mother wouldn't necessarily jump in because the child is just expressing and exploring. Those are the words that Spirit is coming through and saying. That's what God lets us do. Express ourselves through exploration. But in so doing, we've created a lot of things, and obviously one of the things about that is that you may get lost, and you may start to mistake your creations for reality, when in actuality it's not. And so that's why when we think about enlightenment, Buddha wanted to escape the world and things like that, that's about us coming into reality of what the truth is, because we've kind of gotten just a little bit lost, God bless. Now, I'm seeing here that yeah, so Spirit is coming through and saying that we've been kind of living all these lifetimes and going through these dark angel moments and these dark night of the soul moments as a way of unwinding what we've created and undoing error throughout our existence. Let me just take a quick sip. Bing. They're saying that we haven't been alone in this party, so that's why we see these multiple multiple peoples. Okay, they wanted us to say peoples, so different groups, right? So the reason why they're saying that is to show us the magnitude of what needs to be undone, because if you think about it, we are all co-creating, and so we're all just caught up in this huge mass consciousness that, just expands beyond anything we can even fathom, because the butterfly effect, what happens one place affects way over there and whatnot. And so they're saying that why we are like kind of turning our wheels and going through all of these in our attempt to undo all this error or create more of a reality or get back to reality. This is the card that was in yesterday's reading, right? That's us, creating these, just creating and interacting with things, and that's God staying here in a real reality of things, just watching us, not interrupting, letting us do our thing. There's a card that wanted to come through yesterday. With this card, it was on the table right next to it, and I forgot to even bring it up. And it's funny that they bring it up today, because yesterday I was like, oh man, it's this one. If you go back and watch the reading from yesterday's daily reading, November 14th, you'll see that these two cards came out together. And the idea, see how there's the mirroring? There's us as mankind or any species and whatnot, playing and exploring and entertaining and creating all sorts of dreams and whatnot. But look how this looks so two-dimensional. That's not the reality of things. This is the reality. Look how everything out here looks real, and this is just a drawing. We're caught up in our own daydreams and our own nightmares and just dreams in general. And God is neither looking to change that or anything. It's just you doing your thing. And so look, it's like this huge treasure chest, this toy box for this child. See this child? And it's like he's pulling out a toy from the chest. Notice it's the same imagery here. Right? These two came out together. Look, that one of these little pentacles, one of these little things from the chest, and just dreaming and creating. And all right, but along the way we've lost touch with what is real, and we mistake creations for reality, and that's what we've been trying to work through. But Spirit is saying the sheer magnitude of what that is like, it's a lot, because we're all co-creating. And so as we seek to undo things one at a time, this karmic cycle, you and me, we created this karmic spin, so to speak. We created this narrative, and now we have to uncreate it, and we need to get clear, and we need to clear each other, and we need to, when people say you need to get clear with so and so, yeah, that's kind of like what it is. You guys need to bring yourselves back to a state of love. Love is that 0 point. Only love is real, A Course in Miracles teaches us, right? And so it's like we are trying through all of these sacred contracts to not only work through our karma, but to create opportunities for others to work through ours. And I want to use the word dharma, but I'm not like that schooled in that line of thought, but based on what I've gleaned or what I've heard, based on my limited interactions with this concept of dharma, I've heard it. I heard it one place, and that's the definition I'm using for it today, where it's like when you have karma and you have to clear it, and you work through it, and you return back to the state of love and pure understanding about something, and you've stopped telling yourselves the narrative about it. It's neutralized now. And when you don't have karmic pull towards something, when it's just neutral, you're neither running towards it, you're neither running away from it. It's just not a thing in your life, right? And so once something gets to that kind of neutrality, you've learned something. It's a spiritual lesson about that thing, and now you can turn around and you can teach others, and you can, I guess that's your dharma or whatnot. You can listen, correct me if I'm wrong, whatever, but for whatever it means, the definition I want to use here is that you turn around and you use your spiritual knowledge to then help other people and liberate them from their stories. And so it's just this way where we're all continuing and we're liberating each other, right? And the reason why we're doing that, and there's so many sacred contracts and so many lifetimes and this and that, is yes, of course, for learning, but it's also to just help us all rise back from this descent that we've had. We've descended into a lot of dreams and stories and things like that. And so it's about moving back to reality, which is oneness, right? There's no separation, things like that, but we perceive of things as separate because we're so in there. We're in there, guys. And so that's what we're seeing here, and Spirit is showing us about our dark angel moments, dark nights of the soul, things like that, and how they're instrumental in helping us to liberate ourselves and liberate each other and serve as teachers for each other, so, and our brother's keepers, so to speak. And we do this cycle over and over again, and over again we devote ourselves to the light. They're saying the light is what brings us. The light is what brings us back into the fold. And I'm seeing this card randomly off to the side. It says gratitude, but notice how she's reaching into that closet of the unknown, right? Of course, we had an opportunity, we saw an opportunity, we delved into the unknown, and we got a little lost. And through these sacred contracts, we open up to the light. One of the cards that are waiting to come in on the side is this, reassurance of the golden light. They're saying you never will be lost. You'll never be lost. They're saying you just devote yourself, and you have devoted yourself over and over and over and over again. And that's, it's kind of like this cycle. And then look, once you, it's, I'm seeing this person here, and then him devoting himself to the light, and then that field activating here in this card. It says Merkaba, spiritual protection, right? You're seeing this field activating, and then you've come back into clarity. And then you're like, now what, right? That's my now what card. So they're coming through to make kind of a commentary on this sacred process, they're saying, of evolution and de-evolution. And they're saying that what we perceive of as evolution is merely us trying to evolve out of a storytelling mode, so to speak, out of I don't want to use the word fall, because that is so used by people, and it's already so doctrinated and highly contextualized and defined that I don't want you guys to kind of like get off on that tangent. What they're trying to say is what we consider ascension and evolution a lot of times can be also just us trying to get clear, and we were once up there, but then we kind of like got lost in our tales and whatnot, and our beliefs, in our error, and our miscreations. And so what we see is ourselves kind of gradually bringing ourselves back into awareness of what is real. And they're showing one by one, snipping these beliefs. It's like one by one getting rid of these beliefs that are not real. And you guys know that we have so many, right? But that's what they're saying. Yay. Let's see what else they're saying today. Oh, and just a reminder, guys, I left a comment, but I'm not sure, like, everybody, I don't know if everyone can see each other's comments and whatnot, but just I want to make it known that sometimes you guys might try to leave a comment, and definitely please do, but you might not see it pop up right away, and that's because for some reason YouTube scans comments, and they might flag certain comments as being spam. That has nothing to do with me, because I've already indicated to allow all comments, so I don't know why it still does that. But so I always still have to go in and approve of things, and sometimes if you don't see it come up right away, if you don't see what you've written come up right away, you could rest assured that that's because YouTube has pushed it over to that side. And so what'll happen is when I finally sit down to actually respond to comments, I have to go into a special like part where it says something like approve of comments, and sometimes there's nothing there, and sometimes there are maybe 2 or 3 comments. I mean, like one day my own comment got in there. I was like, what? You know, the one that I always pin to the top of the readings that, you know, gives you a blessing. I'm like, dude, how did this get spam put into spam category? So I don't know. We stop questioning, right? We stop questioning, and it just is. So please feel free to leave your comments. Don't be discouraged. They will be seen by me for sure, and when I go in there, and they will be eventually approved. Of all the time and thank you God, and thank you to you guys, of all the time that I've been on my own channel and have allowed comments, I've only removed 1 comment, and that was just vitriolic, and it and you know, so when I get a comment that I kind of like from my ego place makes me a little miffed, I feel into it energetically, and sometimes I can feel when that is actually just a person in pain, or if it's a person who isn't really, I don't want to say conscious, because that makes it seem a little like a negative thing, but they're just not conscious. And I've only had 1 person that I've kind of felt that with, where they weren't conscious. But sometimes I've had like a handful of, I would say, trolls. I don't know if they're bots or something, because I could feel there's like nothing behind there. It's like this inflammatory, incendiary comment. But remember, these things can only blow up if you give into it. Otherwise, it's just something somebody wrote, and it gets buried in the archives, and we don't care, right? So, and there was one that I could see was a real person behind there, and just the energy behind there was just, I don't know, it was kind of weird. So I just took that off. So if it's yours, and if you like, I left a comment and I never saw it, it may not have been yours, all right? So if you actually care that it's yours, it's not yours. So anyway, let's continue on. I just want to make sure everyone knows that your comments are seen, so don't worry, it's just a YouTube thing. Now, it's interesting, in this second row, what I'm looking at, it's interesting to see that at the top here, they talked about us, and notice we went from right to left. Now they're taking us left to right. They talked about us needing to undo error, needing to wipe the slate clean, needing to undo our stories, all of this. And yet here, the message that's coming through is that we were actually born to create. So it's like they're showing us having this amazing force of creativity, of power, of fertility. I don't know what to explain it as, but it's almost like if you touch a surface and your hands come back with like if you touch some oil, like car oil, and you touch it and your hands come back rich, and it's just spreading like that easily. Imagine if there are little stars in that, and that's like you do this, and it's like now this oil of the universe, kind of. That's what I'm getting here. It's so fertile, and it's almost like we can just take our hands and do this, and plants grow from that little S curve there that we've created. So it's strange to say, but that's what I'm seeing. They're showing how much creativity we have in even the smallest part of ourselves. It's pretty cool. And so they're saying that we were born to be that way. God created us to be that creative. We're creator beings, they say. And in a sense, we are like mini gods. But he's saying, our guide is saying, God bless, that, this is confirmation over here. He's saying, let me pull in Dolphin-san, and he's saying this and that are true. So he's saying, confirming what we just said was true. And also this is what he's saying, we're not only born to create because we're creator beings like many gods, but see how they're wearing crowns, but we're born to co-create, a time to collaborate. We're born to co-create. And look at this ant, he's got a different crown from this ant who's got another crown. But see how they're both creators. They're both, and it's not even to say, well, they're both kings or they're both queens. It's not even like a monarch thing. It's just each one is a creator being. You know what it's like? Have you ever been like in a forum or something online where you see the administrator who comments, and sometimes the database would put a little fake crown on top of that person's profile avatar or something to show they're an administrator, and that they can moderate whatever's going on. But then you'd see there are other people who wear those crowns too, because they're also administrators, they're moderators. Okay, so they're showing you that that's what we're all like. We're all like that. And ooh, I have another message coming in. Let me try and finish this one first. And they're saying we're all like that, but they're saying that, oh, it goes together. They're saying that even though we're all creator beings, we are all learning how to become better creators. Because look at this, we're in school with Master Hilarion, this one, Master Hilarion, and then we see the architect, us being made physical to go out there and do our things, and then here us being on the horse to actually experience it. But what the other message that's coming in is that they're saying that this has a few messages. Number one, they're saying helping children. So for those of us, they're saying who are creator beings who have become more advanced through our efforts than other creators, like being just better manifestors, better at creating. We help each other. Helping children means helping those who are on the come up, so to speak. We're helping to have that, help them glow up. Oh, get the glow up going. Over here, I see this word editor. They're also saying a lot of us function as editors. A lot of us are master creator beings as well, but we don't necessarily, we may function more as editors. We help people with their creations. We teach them, we help them. And I don't know if this is once we've gotten to a place where we don't necessarily feel like we need to keep experiencing our creations, or if it's a matter of some of us just have different functions and we don't necessarily incarnate as much. We just help others, right? I don't know, but I'm going to put that aside for a second because I want to look at this a little bit more. They're showing that, yes, we're all master creator beings, but there is this process where we learn, because we learn to be more just better creators. Like, I don't know how to say it. And who knows what we're creating? Maybe some of us created a planet, some of us creating worlds, some of us, who knows, right? That's for another call, or maybe unless they want to comment on that today. But they're saying we're living in our very own creations and we don't even realize it. They're saying, of course the stories that we tell ourselves, yeah, of it, right? But they're showing that we keep on learning, we keep on taking classes on the other side, we keep gathering information about how to become better, and we do have the aid of our brethren who are more advanced in their creations and can offer help, and those of our brethren who are able to help us see where we're going wrong, all sorts of stuff. And once we have these classes and stuff, we go right back and we create again. We keep creating and we build and rebuild and we create into the physical. But once we create those things, a lot of us choose to go then into our creations and live and experience it. So, I mean, that's a pretty awesome concept right there about taking these concepts of ours, these creations of ours, these ideas of ours, and then learning more about them, creating blueprints for them, and then moving into a physical space for those, and to have those experiences and to live those experiences out. And this, they're saying, is the mark of creation. They're saying, but look at how the death card is upon this muse card, this creation card. They're saying, as with many creations, they die, right? They die in the sense like they end. We break down to create again. And so what they're saying is they're showing this as a circle. So we are creator beings. We learn how to be better creators. We experiment. We live those creations. A lot of us do. And then we gather information. And then it's time to kind of, snip that creation, but we're so lost in it sometimes that we then need help to get out. And we are helping each other with whom we've co-created to help out, right? So it's like, it's interesting. Look at these two cute ants collaborating together with this one puzzle piece. Isn't that cute? Both of them moving one puzzle piece to move it. But anyway, and they're both just learning together. Look, it's almost like there's a planet that's on this piece that they're doing. So it looks like this video is all about looking a little bit more at this connection between the lives that we lead and our role as creators, and just that cycle of creativity. It's empowering in a way. and it's freeing, it's liberating. I like it because there's this idea that I can kind of be free enough and be imbued enough with enough ability and free will by God to kind of do as I wish. Excuse me, yawning. To experience as I wish, and then to live my own creations, like my dearest friends, and even people I just meet. Know how much I love this game called The Sims 4. I've been playing The Sims since it came out in 2019 years ago. Okay. 2019. I love The Sims. And The Sims is a game, if some of you don't know it, where you create your own sim. And then you take them through their daily lives. They have aspirations, they procreate, they make mishaps, all sorts of stuff. It's a really fun game, and and I've always wondered, wow, wouldn't it be great if to live in one of my Sims creations, right? And then, Elon Musk, we all know him. He's posited that we are already in simulations, and it could be that we're in somebody's game. It could be, right? And that we've completely lost ourselves in our own game that we've created. I mean, I would not be surprised. You know why? Because if any of you have ever played virtual reality, if you've gotten your PS4 and you play your VR, after like a few minutes, your brain you get so caught up in it. It's so sensory in a sense. That your brain kind of forgets that you're actually playing, forgets that there's an outside world. It's very uncanny. It's very strange. Like I would give your forgetting up to 13 minutes. You forget, and you fall out your chair and things like that, because it's like these pulses that go to your brain, and they're tricking your brain into believing something to be real, and it's actually not real. And the reason why it feels real is because it's engaging in some of your senses. Now look at how our senses are: tasting, touching, feeling, smelling. Those are pretty big senses. So when you hear about people saying that that we're not real, and we're not really here, and things like that, and they're just electrical impulses going to our brain, and how do we know? It's kind of like living in the Matrix, and when you wake up, you're hooked up to some machine. We just don't know. And so I do also want to make one more comment, because I remember I had a dream years ago, and right before bed I heard my guide say, "Do you want to have a break tonight?" And I was like, yeah. Right? I fell asleep. And in the dream, I still remember it. In the dream, I took off my headphones, and I was sitting in this room. It was like this, I don't know. And there were two other people there. One guy named Grigor. I still remember his name, Grigor. He was like Russian or whatnot. And then there was, when I looked at myself in the mirror, I looked different. I was like a different race. I just looked different. And then there was a third person who I guess was the moderator. She seemed to be our, not superior. There's a term in Japanese, they have senpai. It means your senior. Yeah, in high school, if you're in 10th grade, you have juniors. Those are your junior. Your juniors are the ones in 9th grade, and your seniors are the ones who are in 11th and 12th. Senior just referring to the person who came before you, right? And so that person was like our senior, our senpai in a sense, and she looked like no older than 23 or something. But anyway, she was watching us and moderating our I don't know, gameplay? I don't know. I never looked at what was on the computer, but I took it off and I was so disoriented. But I was talking to Grigor, and he came to follow me, and I got this impression, and I tell you guys, this is the only time in my life that I've ever felt, I don't want to say loved, but it felt like there was no hole, no void. There was such an absence of a void on the inside. Sometimes we think there's no void, but there was such an absence of a void inside of me that I didn't want somebody else for a love relationship. I didn't feel I had to be anywhere. I just was there. And Grigor was my mate. And it's like I knew that we had been married, but then it's almost like, well, we're divorced now, or we're separated now. I don't know what that meant, because I didn't feel this pain at that idea, and I didn't feel this pain about him. And if it was a pain, it would just be more like maybe part of me in this sense that I just woke up from this reality and I had some resonance of that. But on that side, it just wasn't a big deal because he wasn't going anywhere. There was no separation. This man won't die. Why won't you die? It's kind of like he's not going anywhere. There's no separation. There's no need to be anywhere. It was nothing. So it wasn't a big deal about us being married or not married or this and that. And who was he with yesterday? It just didn't exist. And, I just remember being disoriented and spending some time with him, and then I woke up. And I've always thought about that, and I was like, wow, did I really, quote unquote, wake up for a second? Did they actually give me a break from this reality, and I took off my headphones from this computer setup, and that's where I was? And remember the other day I shared with you guys on one of the daily readings, that during a private client's reading, Spirit had told me, they thanked me and they said, thank you for giving this message to our person. And since you as a thank you, want to let you in on a little secret. And I was like, what? And I wrote it down, but they were like, you're not really here. You're not really here right now. And I was like, what? I was in the middle of a reading, so I couldn't stop and say, wait, extrapolate. But it's still, and this was only like a few weeks ago, and it still is in my mind, like, well, if I'm not here, where am I? Maybe I am over there, and maybe I am playing some game. I don't know if you guys watched the show Rick and Morty, but there's an episode where Rick and Morty could go to, I think it's Chits and Blips, whatever. It's an episode where they go to this like little arcade place in some other star system somewhere. And there's a game called Roy. You can just Google it, Rick and Morty, and then Roy. It's the game called Roy. And in that game, basically, Morty plays like a person. So he's living out the lifetime of Roy. And he got 65 years or something. He lived to 65 years old. He lived through cancer. He worked at a carpet store, this and that. And it's a gameplay. It's kind of game where you advance and you just live out your life with absolute free will and see how far you get. And I was just thinking, I wonder if that's what this is like. Anyway, guys, I just felt the need to share all those stories with you, and I know that my words are never minced, so that must be for somebody out there. Very, very interesting stuff, guys. Very, very interesting stuff. So, long story short, here we are living this cycle, and where we're getting within our stories, and we have to kind of like pull ourselves through this co-creation and stuff out of our co-created reality, so I guess so we can do it again and just become better creators. That's what it seems like. Now, interesting, this next card that comes up, it says time for a deep dive. And isn't that what this really is? Spirit is saying, isn't that what this really is? It's a deep dive. And I guess the next card that wants to come up is Rhino Spirit, God bless her. And it says overcome any obstacle. And I feel like what they're saying is that a lot of times we take these deep dives because we try to overcome as many obstacles as we can. But it's interesting because this card wants to come in, this cute little porcupine spirit, and her card says time for beginner mind. And it's like in a sense, yes, there's time for this deep dive and time and moments to overcome any obstacle, but it's like, wait a minute, beginner mind, this gives me that feeling again, like we're not actually there in this reality, that we're somewhere removed and we're engaging our minds and living out these experiences. So I know we feel very physical, but the way that I'm getting here, it's just this feeling of being somewhere else and experiencing these things, but it's like for the sake of gathering this information about what it is we can withstand, but it's coming straight into the mind. So I don't know if this is the mind, it could be of course the mind of everybody, all that is, but it's also our mind. And it's like our mind, but it's almost like, well, when we're having this physical experience, how real are we? What can we say is real? Like by our standards, would we, if we knew everything, would we define this physical earth life as real? Right? And it's funny because as I was just saying that, it's almost like I felt like my energy almost was about to fly out my body for a second. And it's like, that's strange. Why would I have that thought? And it's like to fly out and be like, oh my God, the jig's up. She knows this isn't real. That's kind of like the energy that I'm getting here. So it's a strange call, but guys, you guys know me. Before I get on any call, I say, God, I am the channel through which whatever messages you want to bring, as long as it's in the name of love, that's it. Because I can't question it. Otherwise, none of these videos would be made. I'd be like, what? So let's just thank our angels and guides for coming through however they come through, because I know that there are many, many different people. You guys, a lot of you knowing deeper secrets about yourself already, and some of you not really knowing anything about you beyond what you are here on this planet. So I know that many of you are listening to this, because I do get a lot of emails from you guys privately, and these stories touch you all in different ways and in the ways you're supposed to be touched. So I'm gonna be a good channel and let the information come through. Now it's funny because look at the last card that's here, that's coming through here. Open to infinite possibility. Wow. But may I, as Jonelle, pop in a little bit and say something? Because I feel that, yes, it's possible. All these things are possible. And there are just so many things that you would be shocked if you knew the reality of what was going on around you. Okay? And that being said, knowing that and knowing in my own way that I'm like, dude, I could possibly be somewhere else if Spirit told me that I am, and I'm not really here. And in so telling that, I felt like I wanted to go up out my body and return somewhere. And then I had that dream about Grigor, and I know certain things, and I've experienced certain things, and I'm doing these things. Like, this is weird, like, in many ways. How can I do this? If I know all of these things that defy what I always thought to be possible are capable of happening, then what else is out there in this great big realm of existence? What other mysteries, and who am I, and all those things, right? But as Jonelle, I want to say that all of those things are mystery. And when you, going back to the reading we did on mystery, when you have a safe and loving and understanding relationship and content, understanding of relationship, a relationship with mystery, you start to feel a sense of contentment. And that contentment, oh, thank you. And that contentment, I just heard Spirit. And that contentment is, it takes you through, because it reminds you that you don't need to be anywhere other than here. So even if I'm like, oh my God, well, where am I? Who am I? Who's Grigor? I love him. Is he my guy? Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, come holler at me, whatever. All these thoughts, it doesn't, like, I could want to know what planet am I from? Am I really a starseed? Am I this? Am I a gargoyle? Am I all that stuff? An Anunnaki? And we, at the end of the day, this great thing that's called mystery helps us to be content in the present moment. And we know that we can always have our questions answered, but we know that there's safety in the present moment, knowing that our own God, all that is, came through just yesterday to say, I'm not rushing you, boo. You do you. God is here, this flower, just looking at us, enjoying our reality, whatever we believe it to be, but knowing that the real reality is out here. So it's like, no matter what secrets come to us, whatever is revealed to us, we on this earthly plane will never, ever truly come into awareness of what really is. And there's a beauty in that, right? Because there's a beauty in that. So it tells us, be content. If you want to seek out your mystery, seek it. But don't let it get frustrating. Don't let it frustrate you when you can't find out what it is. Because at the very least, you have the self that you are in this very given moment. And maybe at the end of the day, we are all living in the Matrix, right? You saw the Matrix, the first one. Maybe we are all living in the Matrix. And maybe if we can learn to be content in that very placement of where we are, then that's the best foundation from which we can start to look up and start to wonder. And of course, we know that any kind of looking up is really a looking in, right? It's always about looking in, because, you know, a lot of us, we have this concept of heaven being above and hell being below. But, you know, wait a minute. Could it be that heaven is within and hell is without? But isn't anything that is within also without? So by that very definition, heaven and hell are within if they're without. and, all sorts of stuff, right? And then you start wondering, is there really a hell? Is there really a heaven? Am I really? So it continues to go. And that's why philosophers, they just make a life out of it. Okay. How many philosophers have you met that like started off as a philosopher and ended up as a baseball player? No. They just are always wondering and wandering and questioning and musing. And we know that if we're always in a constant state of inquiry, then what is the rush? So, you know what I mean? Now, take a look at this. The card that is laying out on the outside is this card, Second Ray of Wisdom. Notice we have 1 and then 2, right? Now, it's kind of like, yes, creating and the cycle of creation of us, thank you, Spirit, this cycle of creation of us doing our own thing and keep going and keep learning and becoming better creators, and then needing to get out of our creations to create again, getting out of our creations to create again. Who knows what those cycles look like, how long they are, right? It's co-creation. But Spirit is saying, with every desire for wisdom comes this dark night of the soul, in a sense, right? It's all together. Because the dark night of the soul seeks to liberate us. It seeks to liberate us from that which is, oh, thank you, Spirit. That which is not real. I don't know, guys. But look, they had me bring these in because they're acknowledging, and we want to thank them, the beings that are helping us with this message today, because they're coming through me and they're saying that they're here to help us. Oh, got it. They're here to help us because they are those master creators. We're master creators too, but we don't know what we're doing sometimes. We don't know what we're looking at. They're here. They're our brethren they're our senpai. They have been doing this longer than us. They've been living their creations. They've worked through a lot of things that we're now trying to work through, right? They're saying they are not God. They're saying God will not be walking next to you like that. God will not be, it's an essence. God is something else. It's a difference. And guys, listen, that's what they're saying. I don't know, God bless, but I know that when I do these channeled readings, I can tell, generally speaking, oh, Spirit is coming through me, but I know it's like guides and like otherworldly beings, extraterrestrials, whatever you want to say. But that reading yesterday was part spirit, part our spirit guides and stuff, and then the other part was that essence of God. And that essence of God felt different. I don't know how to explain it. It was just different. And it was eternal and it was loving, and that's all there is. I don't know. Amen. But anyway, maybe you can go back and listen, especially in the very beginning towards the first half, and, before the guides kind of stepped in, and we all three were connecting, God's energy was there a lot, and throughout the video, but, everyone had a chance to talk. But anyway, they're saying that these otherworldly beings, these spirit guides and such who are stepping in right now, they had me bring these 2 cards on the table right now because they're saying they're helping us. They're helping us with our creations to understand reality, but do not mistake them for gods. They're not. They're just like older cousins, if you will. They're senpai, as I told you. And they're showing us that they're helping right now, especially in this time-space reality, to help you to edit what it is that you have been stuck in, what your beliefs are, what our beliefs are, because I'm in there as well, God bless, right? I think on maybe 2 daily readings ago, they spoke about how we are really lost in the political consciousness, in the mainstream consciousness of Earth, all those stories that are co-created and a lot of us still continue to give to, and if it's not love, it's not real. And yes, there are very real people going through very real physical experiences and stuff, but you have to take it upon yourself. They're saying, especially if you're exposed to these videos, then clearly you have to take it upon yourself for whatever reason to go inward, to stop and to not continue to be on that cycle of co-creation for those nightmares, so to speak. Those are dreams that are out of control. They're saying they need you to get back to a place of center so that you can disconnect. And I think that's why they keep bringing this book in, guys. Remember, A Course in Miracles is all about what am I going to say? Helping you to disconnect from reality. So I imagine this would be a great book for somebody who's in a cult and they need to get out, of whatever they're thinking and whatever is going on. That book is very good, and it helps you to meander. And one of the basic ideas of it is that you can't, from your diseased mind, I don't want to say diseased, but from your place of error and miscreation, you can't pull yourself out of it, because it's like asking someone with dementia to also be their own therapist. Like, it doesn't happen that way. So they're saying they're helping you to edit, and they're helping you to get through a lot of this stuff. And A Course in Miracles is another tool that, and I find it to be very good. It's another tool that can help intercept that process for you. In The Course in Miracles, there's a workbook that I've started so many times. And this is a book that you just have to work through. But I started this book back in 2013, and I always, at the beginning, I always make a mark of when I first started again. Okay, so I remember around October 10th, 2013, and then somehow I got off it. Started again, December 13th, 2014, started again, August 3rd, 2015, started again, December, 15, and 16, and 17. So I guess, in the year of 2018, I didn't touch it at all, but it was always here, right? And so it's like, I always know when this learning is coming back in, because I'll just be doing whatever, washing dishes or talking to someone, and then out of the corner of my eye I'll just see spiritually what looks like the book, and then I'd look over and it's a bunch of pencils or something. I'm like, oh, okay, it's time. So for those of you who are resonating with this book at this time, then feel free to look it up. You can actually, you don't even have to buy it, it's online for free. So anyway, so today's message, it seems, has been a commentary on our creativity and how it has led to us getting lost in a lot of our dreams and creations. And even though we know that God sits lovingly by and allows us as children to play in this sandbox of reality and to weave dreams around ourselves and around each other, right? And won't step into, because he doesn't need to, right? They're saying that a lot of times we eventually need to undo those errors, because we need to make our way back to love. Actually, hold on, let me check something. Okay, I got it back. Actually, I was like, what's the name of that book? A Return to Love by Miriam Williamson. I have not read it. I don't know yet, but it just made me think of that, because she actually teaches A Course in Miracles. She's one of the teachers of that, and I'm not making a comment on how good she is or whatnot, because that's something for every person individually to make. And I hope you guys don't think about her in terms of her politics, because I don't know her as the politician. That's not how I was introduced to her, and I don't really get involved in that anyway. So please do yourself a favor, and if you want to work with the book, you can do that. And there are other teachers online who teach A Course in Miracles. But remember that if I were you, I would get into it on your own first. Get your own foundation. You have your spirit guides next to you, and they can help you learn as well. But this whole thing is about a return to love from these nightmares that we've created. We've come to believe things that like fear and to think those are real when they actually aren't. And so what's happening is our brethren, a lot of them extraterrestrials, by the way, are coming in to help us, because they've been there before, and they want to help us to edit our thoughts. And that's what today's call is all about. All right, let me see if there's anything else that Spirit wants to mention. Archangel Gabriel is off to the side. This was a card that wanted to come in, but I feel like the message that Archangel Gabriel is saying is that he's saying we respect choice. We respect your choice and we respect your freedoms. We want nothing more than for you guys to be as free as you were born to be, as you were designed to be. And they're saying don't let anyone else ever take that freedom away from you. And this is also a commentary on our governments, okay? And I'm seeing going way back, and again, like I told you guys about how, well, Spirit told you guys a lot about how we are still living in the mental systems passed down to us by extraterrestrials who came way before and did not have our best interests at heart. And so we're still living that reality, but that is not reality. It's not the reality at all. And so these calls are about liberating you. And if you heard Archangel Gabriel talking about you having all this amazing choice, and then you heard God, you saw God just sitting and letting us do as we wish, and then you heard our brethren, our cousins, our extraterrestrial cousins, who have love for us and who hold us in the light. You heard them the other day talking about how we're still in this thinking that isn't real, that has been passed down to us, that has enslaved us. And you hear them talking about coming in to help us liberate ourselves. We must have come to a common conclusion that, wait a minute, maybe we are more powerful than we've been led to believe. And maybe we are just getting exactly what it is that we put out there, because it's at the subconscious mind, the subconscious level that we're transmitting. And so that's why we need to look at our core wounds, heal ourselves. When we heal ourselves, we heal our perceptions. And when we heal our perceptions, we come into power. We come into awareness about who we really are and what our true value is and our true power is. Okay, off to the side here. Check this out, these two cards. I saw them gleaming a little bit earlier, but I didn't know they didn't have a reason to be in at the time, but now they are. See, nurture yourself, focus on you, build yourself, and through doing that, you will be in line with who you are. These are Archangel Gabriel cards, by the way, by Doreen Virtue. You know, despite what you may think about Doreen Virtue, she's definitely had a positive impact on this world with the things that she's created. So, amen. Anyway, so Spirit is saying, don't be afraid. Go ahead and ask for what you want. Now, as I went to say, don't be afraid, and this is my arm. Ding! I have the cutest shirt on. Yay, it's a Kodak shirt. Old school. But anyway, as I went to reach this and I said, don't be afraid, I saw the rainbow colors on my arm, and I feel that for somebody out there who needs to express their sexuality, all right, Spirit was jumping in there to say don't be afraid, and it's in line. They're saying that too is in line. They're pulling it in when they say don't be afraid of who you are. Express as you want. Express. So there isn't just male, female. There isn't just hetero, homo. There are many things in between. If today you wake up and you want one thing and the next day you wake up you want another thing, that's the way it is. And you have to love yourself for that way. And that's what Spirit is saying. Where did he go? Archangel Gabriel is saying, I just talked about this. This is your absolute freedom. Stop acting like you're wrong because you're acting outside of some box that somebody else created. Some box created by people who are even more blind than you. You know, not saying it like that, but yes. So it's time to start living from your own being. And they're saying this is what they're bringing through for you guys today. They're saying it's a release. So they're saying if you are watching this video, you are hereby released. Me too. I just pulled it. You are hereby released from, whatever these paradigms are that you are thinking about, whatever these realities that you're swimming in. They're not real. And once you start to realize that they're not real, you start to float above, much like an oil bubble will float above the surface of water, not taking on the properties of that water, but coexisting within the same space. It's funny they said the word paradigm because the card that was next to this card was paradigm shift. So this is a shift for a lot of us, a shift in thinking. And I'm not surprised, because a lot of us have been going through initiations. And of course, you know, once you go through your initiation, sometimes you need a little boost, a little help. And that's what they're coming through to give us today. They're saying to dream whatever it is that you're dreaming, you want to dream. And they're showing that we're such creator beings. Look at that. This man is creating another person. He's literally creating another person. What's next after he's done creating this sculpture? To enliven it. Sure. Would it become a human? We don't know. What does it become? Who knows, right? It makes me think of Hephaestus. Remember Hephaestus was who was his wife? Was it Aphrodite? Didn't he make somebody? Did he make her? I don't know. Guys, listen, go check that out. But anyway, he was a creator as well. So thank you so much, Spirit. Thank you so much for coming through with this message. It's a gentle message, and it's one that recognizes our creativity. It's one that reminds us of our power and our ability, and it's one that gives us the support that we need. They're saying, oh, thank you, God. Oh, thank you, Spirit. Because I was going to say they're giving us the support we need. Look, that's them. They're supporting us like we need that support. But they're our extraterrestrial brethren. They're coming in. They're saying, no, it gives us the support we need. We need you guys to come into awareness, to become powerful, to you're already powerful, but you don't know it. It's like a cute little, you know, in these shows, these movies, like these cute little movies where, like, say there's a little witch and she doesn't know her power and everyone's treating her like a normal girl, and then they're trying to suppress her abilities, and then one day she comes into the knowledge like, oh my gosh, I'm a magician, I'm a witch, I can fly, and I can. So they're trying to show you have a lot of abilities, you are insanely powerful, and they're saying we need you to join this community of people who can help others, to liberate others. And we need you to be yourself. And you can't be yourself when you're stuck in somebody else's cage. And and energetically, guys, the feeling I'm getting through this reading is like we've been lied to in many ways. And it's like I'm seeing like night and day. We're just not as powerless as we think. Like, we have so much available to us. And yeah, I don't know. You just have to believe it to be. Well, I'll just leave you guys with just an example of how you can tap into your ability and how you can start to live a different life. Like, for example, let's say I want to, excuse me. Let's just say I want to learn how to tap dance. Let's pretend I saw tap dancing for the first time. Oh my God, what's that? It's called tap dancing. I want to learn how to do it, right? I know, like, old school, we'd be like, let me go look for some lessons somewhere. Can I find some on YouTube? I need to go get shoes first. But in this day and age where I'm at, I'm just like, dude, I know I don't need to do any of that. All I know is I have the desire. I want to tap dance. I know it's already a potential. I know it's already a reality. I just need to shift myself to that reality. So I'll just turn to my angels and I'll be like, I want to do that. And you can even add the fake cry, and they're like, okay, we'll get you doing that. And then I'd say, okay, tonight when I go to bed, I want to travel, and I want to start taking lessons for tap dancing. So I'll say let's say for the month of November, God, please let me get study with some tap dancers on the other side. I may wake up and never remember it, but I got those lessons. I took those tap lessons, and then I'll start to see things about tap start to flood into my daily life. It doesn't even have to be about tap. It could be about the different elements that go into creating a good tap dancer. Like, I'll start hearing beats all over. I'll start to tap my fingers. I'll start getting into alignment with music. Next thing, I feel myself tapping my feet, or I might very much stumble upon something in my YouTube feed. It's a tap dance video randomly there, and I start watching it. Next thing, I get resources. I meet somebody who just happens to be a tap dancer, or someone who wants to take tap classes, and they've just signed up, and they're like, why don't you join me? And next thing, we start tapping. I could go buy a book about it, or I may even have dreams. And I remember one time, because actually I did do this, by the way. So I remember one time I was practicing my tap dance just randomly at work. Don't ask. No one was there. I brought my tap shoes. And I was practicing my tap dancing. And then I could feel an energy of Gregory Hines. Remember Gregory Hines? He's passed now. God bless. I literally felt his energy come and imbue me, and like as I was tapping, he was tapping through me, and he was showing me basic steps. To a lot of us, we're like, whatever, why would he do that? He doesn't even know you. But you have to understand, when people are in spirit, they're unlimited. We do things, all sorts of things. They continue on. And why would I think so small of myself to think that somebody like him would not want to help me? Right? How do I know I didn't on some level call him in because I had been watching his videos and I was like, I love how he taps. And then he came to help me. And in that span of like 15 minutes, I felt his energy, and he blessed me in that moment because now I knew what those moves should feel like. And so I could continue to practice that. You see? Another thing, I wanted a tap board because I can't tap where I am. Here in Japan, they're really, big about being quiet and blah, blah, blah in your home. So I needed to go find a board, like a wooden board or something. And people are giving me ideas of what to do. And, I was like, I'm lazy. And then one day I just happened to be in some random park somewhere. And, I went in there, I was just sitting on my bike, munching and drinking something cool, nice and hot. And I saw some girl walk in, and she found a huge board. She just found it, and she was playing with it. And I was like, oh, and I saw her with it, and I realized that I didn't see it on the way into the park. And I just completely passed right over it, and she didn't. And she was playing with it, and I realized, oh, that was like trash. And so I went up to her, and I was like, in my broken Japanese, I was like, hey, is this your board? Can I have it when you're done? And she looked at me like, you're a weirdo. And in that moment, I felt like a weirdo, but I knew that my answer had been given to me. And she was like, yeah, sure. And when she left, I took the board home. Boom, I had manifested a board for myself to tap dance with. And so my point is, guys, everything you have, everything you need, you already have. You have access to teachers, you have access to information, you have access to dreams, you have access to everything. Why? Because you are creator beings. If you want anything, you start by looking to your right and your left, and you tell your angels and guides that you would like to do that and have that experience. Let them help you. Look for the answers in dreams. Remain open to what comes. And for God's sake, get out of your own way. And don't keep thinking about why it's not happening. And don't mess it up with the money stuff. The money stuff will get you big time. You'll start to be like, why am I not making money off of this and this and that? And it will screw you over so hard. Stay focused on the passion that is driving you forward for whatever it is that you want to experience. And do it because you want to experience it. Don't do it because you want people to feel a certain way about you. Like, that's kind of going more into ego territory, so be mindful about that. Maybe they'll talk about manifestation on another day, but anyway, this video is already super long. Thank you so much, guys, for listening, and thank you so much to all of the guides and angels and our guests, our beings that came through today to channel for us. Thank you so much. And to the cards, yeah, mwah. Thank you, guys, I love you. And I will be hitting that Pisces video soon, and today, actually, next, and also getting back to personal readings. All right, thank you so much. God bless you. Bye. Mwah.